Sarai. Basically the effects of exposure to burn pits on Canadian veterans, and I'll read it for those because it's been a while since we've discussed them, just to remind everybody what that is. Pursuant to the Standing Order 1082, the committee undertake a study on the effects of exposure to burn pits on Canadian veterans, including but not limited to during the mission in Afghanistan, as well as the potential long-term effects on the health and well-being of veterans, that the committee hold a minimum of 4 meetings to hear from witnesses, that the committee report its findings and recommendations.
Point of order, Chair.
And that pursuant to the Standing Order...
Excuse me, Mr. May, excuse me, I have a point of order. So, yeah. Mr. Ruff, please.
Thanks, Chair. I'm just trying to understand the relevance. We're talking about the amendment of calling the Honourable Aaron O'Toole to be part of this motion. The member is Mr. May, speaking about something, a different study that's been proposed. So can we have a ruling on relevance there, Chair?
Thank you. So, Mr. May, so please, we have an amendment on the floor, so if you can talk around this amendment tabled by Mr. Kidd, please.
And I think it is relevant, Mr. Chair, and I apologize to the members who don't necessarily want me to remind folks what, in fact, we should be working on and what we should be talking about. And I recognize that we have a motion on the floor, an amendment on the floor that we need to discuss. But as this is my time, I think it's important, and I'd like to get back to finishing my discussion on this. I think it's important to remind veterans and remind this committee what it is that we should be working on in terms of the time that we have, and the time that we have is limited. We're here twice a week during the sitting weeks. We have a very short calendar to get some of this stuff done, and another such study that we should be in the middle of right now is the study that MP Wilson Meow tabled, and I'll remind this committee of that study as well. That pursuant to Standing Order 1082, that the committee undertake a comprehensive study reviewing a definition of wartime service, and special duty service, and B, the difference, the process of determining and criteria for veterans' benefits in respect of wartime service and the special duty service, that the committee hold a minimum of 4 meetings on this study, and that committee report its comprehensive findings and recommendations to the House of the Department of National Defense and the Department of Veterans Affairs. And I could tell you I had a conversation, Mr. Chair, about that study just this past week with some local veterans in my riding who have been asking for recognition of special service for an incredibly long time. These are the ways that we can move forward. These are just 2 of the studies. I haven't even discussed the motion that I tabled not that long ago, I think it was back in November, that we study the experience of Indigenous veterans and Black veterans. These are compelling studies that should draw our attention. And instead, the Conservatives want to play games. They want to stymie not just this committee, but they want to stymie the work that's being done at PMO. They want to call for basically a deep sea fishing exercise to try to waste the time of this committee and waste the time of PMO. Mr. Chair, I think it is incredibly important that we consider adjourning this debate. I will let others make that decision, but I with the half an hour that we have left here, I think we should be getting to the business of what this committee will be doing when we come back. We haven't even discussed that. What is next on the docket? We know that we hopefully will have witnesses on Wednesday.
Mr. May, Just 1 minute, please. I have a point of order. So, Mr. Richards.
I know that the Liberal member talks about wanting to try to end the debate. There is an easy way for us to get to some of the other topics, which is we could simply have a vote on this motion, which everybody else other than the
Chair, it's not a point of
Mr.
order.
It's
A
not a
point of order is
I'm
not a
sorry,
way to
I'm
interrupt
sorry,
somebody's
that
intervention.
if you please don't interrupt the one who has the mic. Sorry, it's not a point of order. So, Mr. May, please go on.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I was coming to an end. I did want to conclude by simply saying that the fear that I had when we started this process many months ago has in fact materialized, that this committee has become stymied on this issue. I would very much like to see us get to the motions that are in front of this committee and do the work that veterans want us to do. The veterans that I speak to want the monument built, period. They want it built. They want to get to that point where they can stand in front of that monument and honor the fallen soldiers that they served beside. We also have a number, as I've said, I've only read two of them. There's, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Chair, you can check with the analyst. I believe there are 6 motions that are in front of us, including motions that the Conservatives have tabled themselves and apparently have just decided it's not important anymore, as important as this. So I just want to identify these motions that are in front of us, and I want to identify the fact that the opposition has decided that what we're debating today is more important to them. And I can tell you that the veterans that I've spoken to, that is not the case. This debate, this last hour and a half, has not been important to veterans. The motions that we have all agreed upon are, and the sooner we can get back to those motions, the sooner we can move forward with recommendations to the government and actually effect change that will support veterans in this country. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much, Mr. May. And on the list, I have Mr. Richards and Mr. Kissing. Mr. Richards.
Thanks, Chair. And I mean, I want us to get this dealt with. I know that all the other members, other than the Liberal members, want us to get this dealt with. I've asked for some indication whether they would allow this to get to a vote today. I mean, I think it's clear to everybody who's watching this what's going on here. There's attempts to try to delay and deny, just like veterans see every day with their ability to get benefits. And so let's get to a vote on this. So Chair, I'll just ask for unanimous consent that we carry the meeting through until at least until 2 p.m. Or until we have a vote on this motion.
Just a second. Wow. Okay. First of all, I just want to make sure that we have technical staff to be able to go to 2 o'clock. So yes, so we're gonna go to a vote on that. So I'd like to know if I have unanimous consent to go to 2 o'clock. No, we don't have unanimous consent. So are you finished with your?
Yeah, I'm just wondering maybe then if the Liberals could give us some indication as to why they're not willing to go till 2 p.m. Is it just simply that they want to continue this cover-up? They don't want to have a vote on this? Because I mean, we just heard from a Liberal member that they want to get to dealing with other matters that the committee wants to deal with. And I certainly want to see that happen as well. I think all of us want to see that happen. I know the veterans in the room and those watching online all want to see that as well. And by going till 2 p.m., we can get this motion dealt with and we can deal with those things, which is what we should all want to do. So I wondered if the Liberals could give us an indication as to why they're refusing to give veterans their due.
Thank you, Mr. Richards. And like I said, on my list, I have Mr. Sean Kessé.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I believe in Mr. May's presentation, he suggested an adjournment of debate I'm not sure if that was a motion to adjourn debate or whether he was putting it out there for discussion. Because if it is a motion to adjourn debate, we have to proceed directly
I
to a
know, but
vote.
I didn't hear that clearly from Mr. May to adjourn debate on that motion, on that amendment of motion.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to come back to a couple of things that that have been mentioned in the course of the debate. Mr. Ruff, first of all, allow me to add my thanks to you for your service. One of the things Mr. Ruff said is that he knows what veterans want, and so do we. It was reflected in the survey, and it has guided the decisions that have been made in connection with this matter, and it has been referenced on numerous occasions by the minister that that was the paramount consideration, because this is or should be about veterans. Ms. Blaney talked about Veterans Affairs having a more veteran-centric communications strategy. I would suggest that that is being respected in the manner in which the survey was utilized in the decision-making process. I would also like to say that I agree entirely with her when she indicated in her intervention that she'd like to get on with witnesses on Wednesday. That's the reason why I sought unanimous consent at the outset of the meeting, so we're certainly on the same page in that regard. Mr. Chair, the minister has come before this committee 3 times since October, and every time when regardless of the topic that she was here to discuss, and it wasn't exclusively the Afghanistan monument. However, the questions, in spite of what the topic was that she was to appear on, including estimates, the conversation quickly turned to the Afghanistan monument. And on every occasion, on the 3 occasions that she came before this committee, she clearly indicated that Veterans Affairs chose to listen to veterans, and that it was Veterans Affairs Canada. It was Veterans Affairs Canada that made the decision. So the conspiracy theories about alleged political interference by the Prime Minister, there is absolutely nothing to substantiate that. There's nothing to justify going way beyond what every other standing committee has done with respect to any probe they might be involved in to take the extraordinary measures that are being proposed by the motion. Mr. Chair, teams of professional artists, landscape architects, and other urban design professionals were invited to submit their credentials and examples of their prior work on similar projects as part of a request for qualifications that closed on the 27th of February 2020. 5 teams were shortlisted by a jury of experts in the field of arts and urban design and representatives from key stakeholder groups to develop design concepts for this monument. The design concepts were evaluated by the same jury, made up of experts in the fields of visual arts and urban design and representatives from key stakeholder groups, including a veteran of Canada's mission in Afghanistan, a representative of the families of the fallen, a non-veteran representative of the mission in Afghanistan, and a military historian. And those individuals included Dr. Stephen Boris, who is the director and CEO at the Winnipeg Art Gallery, Virginia Burt, a landscape architect and principal at Virginia Burt Designs, Master Warrant Officer Steve Chagnon, a veteran of Canada's mission in Afghanistan, Ren Sampson Daw, representing the families of the fallen, and 2019 National Memorial Silver Cross Mother, Arif Lalani, Canada's ambassador to the Islamic Republic of Afghanistan during the height of Canada's military and civilian mission, Talbot Sweetapple, architect and partner at McKay Lyons Sweetapple Architects, and Dr. Lee Windsor, the Deputy Director of the